and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSFD.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Pete, where's my background?
Oh, I'm working on that. Hold on.
All right.
Well, and I'm purposely not wearing blue anymore on Thursday.
Thank you.
Right.
Are you on the right microphone? Hold on.
I'm wearing blue today.
Yeah, but it's late.
It is. Welcome to Superintendent Spotlight. I think today's the 15th. Are we on the 15th?
It is mid-October.
Mid-October, but it's going to be 73 today for a high, so it's going to feel like September.
Yeah. I'll take it.
I'll take it, too.
You have to turn the heat on.
Absolutely. So,
Chris, I think you're like way off mic for some reason.
I'm way off mic?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There
Well,
you
maybe because the mic isn't in front of my face.
There you go. Yeah.
it helps, Chris, when it's in front of you.
The public could still probably hear me anyway.
Yeah, but it was
loud.
you sounded way off
Yeah.
mic.
Right.
It's all right, Pete. He's a rookie. He just started.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I public speaking is not my forte, Stefan.
So you went out back and did that.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
So
That's your backyard.
Brian and Sonia, can you see the background?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, that's my backyard.
I know, it's
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
It is.
Nice.
You can't see, but there's a pond somewhere in there, too, underneath.
Pond, a pool. Pond's good for you, Stephen.
The pond is good. Actually, there's a heron out there.
There we go.
There we go. There's a full photo, and the leaves are changing.
Isn't that nice?
I got to do some raking or something. It is, but
adds
there's
to
a
the
heron
ambiance.
that sits out every day and just eats. It's a big animal. All right. So today, listen, we're going to go right to our guests, and we'll do the administrivia stuff later. But
Sure.
We have Brian and Sonia with us today, former Mayor Brian Sullivan and Sonia Brockney. Welcome to the show. Sonia, is this your first time on the radio and television? Because you're on both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
All right.
Brian is a veteran at this. He's
Right.
been on. He did his own show for a while, right? You did a monthly
did.
or
4 years, yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Miss it. I
you
miss it. I miss it. Me and Dennis Akins.
Dennis Ake, yeah. Pete, does Dennis still do a show, or is he done?
No, he's done because he's primarily down in Maryland now. He spends more time in Maryland than he does up here.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I
that.
did offer him a monthly show if he wanted it.
Okay, he was a good host too.
Yeah, very good.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get right to it, and former Mayor Sullivan and I talked a while back about what some of our needs were about starting this school year, which has been nothing short of a challenge, and I think that's an understatement. But we are moving forward, and we talked about technology, and then Brian and Sonia came up with this idea. So why don't you tell us about what you came up with?
Absolutely.
So the idea behind it was to help the students and families that are struggling during this pandemic. A lot of families already struggle with childcare and with work and that work childcare balance, but now with the added stress of having to homeschool and any financial hardships that people are experiencing during this pandemic, the opportunity to pay for internet within your house and choose groceries or internet for families that are struggling could be a really difficult choice. So knowing that people could potentially be really struggling out there, and what are those families doing that don't have internet in their homes? And that's where the idea came from. It was just those questions of what are people doing? So we kind of were talking about it, put our heads together and thought, well, what if we adopt a student and help to pay to put internet into the homes of those families that are already struggling?
And it's been a great plan, a great idea. And what's interesting, you asked that question, and in the spring, the pandemic came on and we closed just like that. It was just so quick, and unfortunately, in the spring, also the guidelines from DESE were not as robust as what we see now in remote learning. So that's, Chris was in charge of this. We were giving packets of work to kids in backpacks,
right?
And the work was being turned in, and it was being graded that way. Not efficient, and certainly it kind of isolates the student. So that's not ideal. And this year, we know that we have to get everybody online. So interesting, too, and I don't know where we are now, but for a while, Massachusetts, I think, had the highest unemployment rate in the nation. I think we're up to 17%. Well, and I think there's been a little bit of a rebound, but we still have a lot of unemployed folks here in our state, and certainly in our local area.
Right, and that's like a real challenge. Then you have to incorporate paying for internet within your home in order to allow your student that's home to be able to learn. I can't imagine the struggle that families are facing right now with that dilemma.
Absolutely. I can tell you that, and we're appreciative just on the food side of things,
right?
With USDA extending now the free lunches through and breakfast through the June of 2021. And it was originally through December. Now it's through June. And so our students are they can go to their school and pick up a breakfast and lunch between certain hours. And that's on our website and has been posted all over the place. Our food services department is doing a great job.
Yes, they are.
For several meals, although that doesn't cover weekends. And I know that we're actually going to be starting dinner time. Did you know that? We're going to be doing dinner distribution. at the intermediate
that's
school
an
and the middle school.
intermediate, right? Yep.
Intermediate and middle. So we're taking care of that. But that internet piece is still a question. So we know that we were able to research some products. We started with a product called Khajiit, and then we transitioned over to Verizon. And so we can provide internet access for about $250 for the school year for every student. So that's where you both came in. And, how did that work? What was your thought on that in terms of, I know adopt a student, and that's what we're doing for technology, but it wasn't just put it out there. I know you came in front of the school committee. Let's talk about that too.
Yeah, well, we sat down basically and said, how many students right now are don't have that access at home and not knowing what they were doing, probably going to a neighbor's or somewhere sharing something, or
exactly,
God forbid, dial up or something crazy where they were doing it, or they were on a plan that was timed out with minutes.
Minutes, right.
And you spend a whole day in a classroom at school and you're going to burn out your minutes on Monday. So it came down to, like you said, Stefan, about $250 for the year for some of these students, which started around 100 students. I think we're up, probably pushing closer to 200 students that really needed this assistance. And so in order to do that, and you know that, Stefan, as well as I do, this community, if you give them a cause and a direction and tell you what the problem is, people give. Westfield's very good at community giving, and residents and business alike. And we knew that we could at least start the ball rolling. So in order to do that, the school committee would need a line item in their budget to accept gifts. And that's any gift for anything, by the way. But in this particular case, we wanted to make it specific for the internet connectivity piece so that students, I keep calling them kids, students would have that connection at home, unlimited, by the way, because you're going to be on it. Let's be honest, you could be on it all year. Given the, I hope not. And I said that at the school committee meeting. I hope you come out of this and your kids are back in school where they should be and things like that. And it gets back to whatever normal is going to be back in the buildings. But so to start the line item, that went over very well. I mean, we knew once we started this that we were going to get support. So school committee voted unanimously, and we had people literally the night that we asked the school committee to do that, were donating or sending us checks as we spoke. We were getting texted as this was all happening. So that was the easy part. The hard part is now putting the money together, and it basically came out somewhere between 25 and 40,000, depending on how many students were going to be. So we knew we were gonna need to ask some of the business community to help.
Right.
And I talked to one of the G&E commissioners, and the G&E wanted to help. And I want to make sure that everyone understands that G&E was in this right from the beginning, but unfortunately they're not at every site in the city yet.
Right.
So some of our students weren't going to get it. So instead of trying to hurry up and get people access, which wasn't going to work, they supported us financially. And I know Stefan, that they originally came up with a $10,000 donation and then a $5,000 grant, which I thought was
a match.
Really
they were going to match our first 5,000. So just to piggyback on what you were saying, we reached that 5,000 threshold in 2 days.
2 days.
So thank you. I mean, I can't, and that triggered another 5,000 from G&E.
That's right. And I thought that was a great idea on behalf of the G&E, because it was kind of saying, we'll support you, but we hope the community supports it too. And within 48 hours, we already had matched, we had already raised what they were going to match again. So, and then me and Sonia and yourself go and ask the G&E, we explained to them the whole picture. So this was kind of the first thing, was like the seed money. And then kind of put the whole picture out there on what we were trying to get to and what the whole program was going to be. And they generously came up with another $35,000. And basically, really what that was going to do is probably get about halfway through the year, or 2/3 maybe through the year, with this number of students. So as the leaders of this fundraiser, us two have now continued to ask residents on a one-to-one basis, but we've also started sending out letters to the business community and explain the program. And like I said, Westfield's really good at supporting the community. If it's a Westfield project, especially when it comes to students and seniors,
Comes to kids, yep. Mm-hmm.
If it's for the kids and there's something you're asking for, because there's a picture drawn of what we're trying to get to, and everybody understands the pandemic has whacked us all somehow. That they understand that working from home isn't fun, and I give the school administration and all the teachers a ton of credit for being able to do this, because it's not easy. So taking away the internet piece gets one thing off the plate from the parents and you people. And it's been successful so far. We're probably, in my eyes, 2/3 of the way there of what we want to do for the rest of the school year to keep this going. And it's just I know people tend to worry about, well, what are you going to do after, next year and next year and next year? This is just for this year. And we're hoping we don't have to do it next year, but next year
we're more than hoping on that, Ryan. I got to tell you.
Right. I mean, you guys are hoping probably
Praying is the
but you had no idea to forecast something like this when you're drawing up a budget.
Right.
I mean, that's
right.
The problem is next year, maybe there's something in the budget or earlier that you could be asking for or doing, and you'd be able to do it within your own means. But this year, you never saw, you really couldn't see this coming because, a year ago, 6 months ago, we were going back to school. We were going back to the buildings, and you weren't going to have to do this. But unfortunately,
I was delusional enough to think we were actually going to be able to have the regular graduation in the beginning of June. I was putting that out on the radio, and
we thought we thought we were going to go back the last
couple
weeks of June.
We thought
to
June
give
1st.
Kids closure for the school year and all that stuff.
And then never did I think that we were going to be starting this school year in the same fashion. I mean, with this COVID and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if you today's Thursday, so if you looked at the updates of COVID in our local area, I mean, we're on an uptick right now, and there are several red communities around us. So we may be in this, I think, like you said, potentially for this whole school year. I mean, that's a reality that exists.
Let's put it this way. I think you plan for it as the whole school year and hope you come out of it as opposed to the other way.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So this was a full year program that we're running for, and we've had such great response from the community. Both of us run into people. She works at Savage. They sent a check, I know, as soon as she went in the next day.
Yes, they did.
It's just one of those things that Savage Arms, by the way, one of those things that, like I said, if you ask and you show where you're going with it, people are very generous to help out their own community.
So I want to give some numbers, okay? Because at 170 students, which is where we were at when I talked to you, and I think it may have crept up, you're right, times $250, so that's a need of $42,500. Now, we've received $10,645 from donations from either businesses or citizens in Westfield, and I think that's a phenomenal amount,
Great
by
number.
the way. And I do think, I haven't been in to check yet, but we get checks every day, which is what's been fantastic. And then the $15,000 match from gas and electric. So we're at $25,645. So that's what you said, about 2/3 of the way there. Now, the gas and electric funding that when we went to that meeting last week, can also go toward this, but it's also for technology for students. It's not just for internet, for that particular piece. And I want to clarify that for folks, because we as a district right now, we are not one-to-one. We're pretty close, but we'd like to get there, because we think, right now we have families using their own devices at home, which is okay, except for they don't always have access to the same stuff that if you use a school device, because our tech center can't push that out to home devices. They can only push it out to devices that we control. And even, from your time as mayor talking to me, I wanted to be a one-to-one district probably since year one. I just knew it was going to take us a while to get there.
Right.
And the other piece we have too is we started this 5 years ago. So some of our Chromebooks that we first initially bought are running out of time. A 5-year Chromebook is pretty much that's their life expectancy.
Sure.
And so we have that same issue. And so you've been sending out letters too, you said, right?
Yeah, we have been
a big band of them that are rolling out by the end of this week.
Okay.
We've identified several community partners, businesses, and the remainder of those letters will be going out this week.
Okay.
So we're not done raising money for the kids. We still are passionate about this, and we're still pushing to earn more for the kids to get this project up and going and keep us sustained for the year.
Well, and here's another reality. If COVID comes back with a vengeance, phase 2 or whatever, our economy could take an additional hit. I mean, that is a foregone conclusion, and we may see additional families needing internet access to continue education because, like you said, is food on the table or internet, and obviously the food piece becomes more important.
Yep.
Yeah. And I do want to emphasize too, Stephen, you mentioned $250 per student, but as far as collecting or anything people can send, it's any donation. So when you said you were at, we're at 10,000 something right now.
645,
just from non-gas and electric money. That's come in all sorts of, shapes and sizes, denominations. Whatever people can send is going to go right into this gift account, and it will only be used for, I think you named it, student technology or student.
Yeah, it's for technology for students, and that's all it can be used for, which is exactly what we need right now. And so I think it's a very good cause. And I can't thank you both enough for your efforts on this because you really, you've made a difference, and it's significant. All of our devices are out right now, so I hope that makes you feel good knowing that every student that needed it right now has internet access, and we're able to, to pay that. But we pay monthly. So we're able to make those initial payments, if you will, and we're pretty excited about that. So anyone who wants to donate, okay, and I think someone came in and brought $20 cash. They just dropped off $20. Hey, that's great. We'll take it. It doesn't have to be $250. So people need to know it's not like $250 or nothing. That's not what we're looking for at all.
Everybody's struggling right now, so it's whatever somebody feels comfortable with giving.
Absolutely. And then we send a thank you. I know you're going to send a thank you too. And, we recognize them at school committee when we accept our gifts. And I know for some it's not about their recognition, but we do appreciate their donation, and we want to at least say thank you publicly and privately. So I think it's important. So if people want to donate, it's you make the check out to Westfield Public Schools, and in the memo you would put Adopt a Student Technology Program. And then and it is tax deductible, so that's important for folks to know too. I think if that's a concern, it can help on that end as well. Anything else before we wrap up our segment you want to talk about before we take our first break?
No, I think we hit it all. We'll be knocking on doors and sending letters, and we want to make this successful so the students have connectivity and don't have to worry about the internet piece. They can worry about the reading, writing, and arithmetic, or whatever you call it now, STEM or whatever. It's all
STEM week next week. We're going to talk about that.
That's right.
When we come back.
Do want to say? Not only do we thank you, but I do want to provide you guys an update too. You would think, the vast majority of our kids have been remote since the start, but as a district, 94% every day are logging in. So, so even with some of the struggles, we are, your help has been greatly appreciated. Trust me.
Thank you. We're glad to do it. Anything to help families and the students.
Okay, and without saying, but I'll say it anyway, if there's anything we can do to help both of you, just let us know. We'll be right there.
Oh, you're on speed dial.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the show this morning. All right. Great to see you both.
Have fun. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Bye,
Pete,
guys.
Let's take a quick break.
Can't nothing get me down. You gotta
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight. And our next guest is Joe Langoni, the principal of the Westfield Technical Academy. We're going to get to him in 1 minute. I just want to talk about a few things happening this very evening. If you are a high school student, a community college, or a university student, tonight you can check out Ask Me Anything, a conversation with former astronaut Katie Coleman.
Nice.
I love Katie.
Yes, that's tonight from 6:30 to 7:30. Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito will be giving some opening remarks, and you can register to receive Zoom credentials. You just go to westfield.ma.edu/Katie, C-A-D-Y, Coleman, Coleman, and I believe Joe is popping in on that.
Have you ever met Katie Coleman?
I have not, and if
I've interviewed her twice, she's great.
She is?
Yes.
If I didn't have the next event I'm about to talk about tonight, I would be there. So I want to thank Joe for stepping in for us. But tonight also, so whether people realize it or not, in the middle of a pandemic, we are planning a new elementary school, or renovated, or whatever the case may be.
That's correct.
We are currently calling it the Westfield Elementary School Project. And so there's a virtual community visiting workshop tonight from 6 to 8 o'clock. And again, this is going to focus on setting educational and architectural priorities for the school project that is presently in the feasibility study phase in partnership with the Massachusetts School Building Authority, otherwise known as the MSBA, if you ever hear us use that acronym. It's a 2-hour-long workshop that'll be run by New Vista Design and Kalo Bienick Associates. And again, it's a virtual collaborative session designed to update the community on visioning work that has been done thus far, and also capture the community members' best thinking about their priorities, aspirations, and concerns with regard to the design of a renovated or new Westfield Elementary School. And it's on Zoom, so you can join the Zoom meeting. If you go to our district webpage, the information is right on the front page. It's also been posted on our Facebook page, because if I read you the HTTPS stuff right
That's
now,
too long.
you would never be able to
They would end the
write it
show.
down, so I'm just
That would be my segment would be gone.
Yes, it would. So I'd say just go to those places if you want to join us. And we really, really want our community's input on this planning. And I'll tell you that we have had several workshops now, 3 or 4. I can't remember. I'm in so many Zoom meetings, but we had some great planning strategies. Right now, we've been working with some teachers, some parents, from both Abner and Franklin, and we've been talking. We've had some administration on the call. We have the designers, the architects, and so we're talking about the priorities and things that we want there. And one of the things I'm really excited about is that we started talking about outdoor learning spaces yesterday, and really the location of the new school will be right by the Westfield River.
Right.
And I do remember, and I'm going to shout out Annalise Eck. She's a 4th grade teacher at Franklin.
Oh, Franklin Ave, yep.
Because last year she partnered in an Adopt a Classroom program through our WeTuber group.
Mm-hmm.
She partnered with Westfield State, and they worked together to determine the health of the Westfield River. And just remembering what it's like to be a 4th grader, yay, I get to play in sand in the river.
Yeah, that's right.
But at the same time, it was such authentic learning.
Absolutely.
And then they went in the classroom and they had to work on flooding and how to eliminate all of that. So there was just some plan. It was just a great thing to see. I don't think I've ever seen a class of 4th graders as engaged as I saw in that particular project.
And I think they learned that the Westfield River is actually healthier than we think it is.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception that it is a not a very healthy river.
It actually was
something else.
It was actually
Very
all
healthy.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Joe, just so you know, we also talked about indoor and outdoor gardens in collaboration with the Westfield Technical Academy Horticulture Shop. So it was just a really cool meeting yesterday. The problem is they're just every day and it's exhausting. But you know what? People's energy was high.
This is class. This is the Westfield Public Schools. We don't let something like a pandemic keep us down. Lesser people would expire.
Exactly. I agree. We just keep chugging along here, and it's great. Which brings us now to the Westfield Technical Academy. And
about lesser people expiring.
Yeah, well, you've been back with kids since September 14th.
Since day one.
So
with reckless abandon,
right,
and happy to be here.
Well, we wanted to have you on because I think people want to know how it's going. I've seen some great things just in media in terms of a very generous donation of lumber to the construction tech program.
Nice.
And a few other things. So can you give us a quick rundown? How's it been? How are the kids? Your attendance rate is phenomenal at 95.18%.
We were looking good, yep.
Yeah, so the kids are coming.
So it's, and I've said it in a few places already, selfishly, it's been exactly what I've needed after the whole period of closure. I mean, and Stefan, you know this, as you begin to move up from the classroom, the sacrifice that you make is that your contact with students becomes more limited the higher up on the hierarchical chain that you move.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
True.
To be without close contact with the kids from March through the summer, from an educator's point of view, is terrible. So I needed to be back so that I could have contact with them and remember why I got into this gig.
Yeah, it's a nice reminder.
But on the flip side, and I guess I did not expect this, but I was amazed at how tremendous the outpouring was from the kids. That first week of school, the energy was beyond palpable, and the kids were very frank and very upfront about how grateful they were that they had the opportunity to be back in as complete a way as they are, for shop, but to be back to a normal routine, to be back to the things that mattered to them, the things that made sense to them. So from a lot of perspectives, not the least of which is social emotional health, which is a very popular topic of conversation currently in education, this was an absolutely necessary reality for everyone concerned, all of our community. And thank God, but for a couple of minor blips on the radar that we've been able to manage very effectively, things have been going very smoothly. The kids are engaged. The shops are rocking and rolling. Our shops that are doing outside work are out. Construction Technology is doing a garage project in South Hadley. Horticulture has been out in the community most recently. In fact, they're there today. They're completing some work, doing some site work renovations at the Westfield Police Department. Culinary is doing some different things this year because we can't open Tiger's Pride. At least we can't open it to the general public until we return to a full-on school situation. But we're doing grab and go. We're doing curbside delivery. They're doing a lot of catering in order to recoup some of the losses that they might have felt because of the closure of the restaurant to the general public. Auto tech will be at some point, I hope, able to take outside work. We had some issues down there because the department chair was out on paternity leave, the birth of twins over the summer. And, we also have a teacher who is working remotely. So there's some logistical issues that we're going to try to sort out there so that we can offer our services to the community. Collision has begun gradually taking some outside work. So we're really returning to a normal setting, making sure that we're very mindful of the safety parameters in terms of expectations around masking, close contact with people, social distancing, allowing members of the community to come into our facilities. But for the pandemic, it's been a very normal return to school, and I think all parties concerned are really grateful for that.
Well, I know the first week, Joe, I came in, I stopped in, we did a walkthrough. I think it was the day we were with Joe Rouse I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the Friday before
Friday
the
before
Friday
school.
before the first
Friday
day of school.
before the kids weren't back yet, and I think it was great just to hear some of the instructors thank us for bringing the kids back, and I think they felt the same as you. You know, this job becomes very like, why are we doing it if there are no kids? It makes it more no students. It makes it beyond challenging.
Right.
Oh, did we lose Joe or did I lose him?
I
His
think
audio popped out.
his audio. Yeah.
His
So
audio.
mute-
So
There you go.
There you go.
It's especially challenging in terms of CTE education, as we know, because
Yeah.
CTE education is not configured for a reality outside touching the curriculum.
No, you can't do it.
In
You
any
can't
of
do
our
it.
areas. And that is sort of the driving force behind the separate guidance that CTE programs receive from the department in late July, early August. And I'll share it just briefly because I'm sure there are many members of the community who aren't aware of the fact that when the department was issuing return guidelines to the schools in the Commonwealth earlier on May, June, they also prepared and then ultimately issued separate guidance for CTE programs, which envisioned CTE students returning for in-person education. There are a few outliers. My old place of employment, Putnam and Springfield, is doing fully remote because the entire public district of Springfield is doing fully remote. There are one or two, and it's literally a handful of schools in the Commonwealth who, for whatever reasons, they've decided to opt for something outside of the DESE guidance or their own. I'm sure, especially in the eastern part of the state, it has to do with communities that are still considered red
Yeah, they're
zones
red.
and so forth. But the guidance itself does not envision CTE education happening remotely.
Exactly.
So the fact that we're able to do this and that we've done it as safely and as smoothly, as seamlessly as we have, isn't a tribute to anything that I've done or anything that the administration here has done. It's a tribute to the staff and to the kids who have taken our guidance, taken our protocols and our guidelines and really incorporated them into the fabric of what they do every day.
What's
So
well,
it's-
and what's been
it's
great.
their success. It's not my success.
Sure, and just talking to students as we've been coming in for the radio show, they are clearly very happy to
Oh,
be back.
definitely.
Yeah. All right. Hey, listen, Pete, we're going to take our next break as I try to break in our Van Halen songs in tribute to Eddie Van Halen, which was supposed to.
It amazes me. You younger fellas co-opting the music of my generation, but that's a conversation for another day.
Van Halen was
That
around
was
when
my
I was a
favorite.
kid.
That was my favorite band growing up.
Yeah.
My favorite album growing up as a kid was 1984.
Me too. Listen, Chris even had Eddie Van Halen hair for a while.
I did.
He did. He
And
told us
that's
this
why it
before.
all fell out.
Yeah.
Listen, I might have, just before we go to break, I might have attempted to see Van Halen in
I saw
the
him.
blizzard of '78 in Springfield, and
Wow.
ended up sleeping in the Red Cross shelter at the Civic Center because they couldn't get through. So you younger fellas, you don't know the struggle.
No, that was. Too
I
young
saw
for
him
that.
at the Meadows Music Theater in Hartford, I think.
Nice.
That's where I think
Was it Van Hagar or Van Halen?
It was Hagar.
Van Hagar.
Hagar.
All right, Pete, let's take it away. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Want to get in the flow with Rob and Joe? Join host Joe Langoni and Rob O'Laurie Thursdays at 7:45 a.m. on Westfield Technical Academy's Tiger Talk.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
So, welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight. Today we are broadcasting live from my backyard.
I wish.
You know, how good's your internet?
Foliage right there.
How good's
Peak foliage, peak.
And it's at almost about peak, and the pond, Pete. Can you get to the pond for a minute?
Yep. How good's your internet? We could actually do it from
It's
your backyard.
Lake Zaborowski.
It is. There's my link right there, and it's awesome. My internet is not that great.
Okay.
Pete, yesterday I was on a call and I had to turn off my video because I kept freezing.
God's country.
Well, do you have high-speed internet up in the mountains, or is it more?
I do, actually. It's Comcast.
Oh, okay, it's back.
But all right, Joe, hang on one
Oh,
second.
hey, Pete, when we were coming back to the show, I heard, and I haven't had a chance to circle back with you, our little ad for Tiger Talk. So we're going to start again. We want to start again in November once the one-day exploratories for the freshmen are done. Then things will be a little more settled. There's a lot of movement here, literally a lot of movement among administrators because of some of the safety protocols that we've had to implement, not the least of which is the addition of 2 lunch waves. So we're on duty escorting students and watching the cafeteria from 10:30 to 12:40 every day now, at least through the closure. It's funny, I said to Chris Rogers recently, I got to go buy a new pair. I've been wearing sneakers.
Right.
I've been averaging 4 to 6 miles a day in the building.
See, but that's fantastic though, because you're getting your workout done during school.
You're in school.
I gained 15 or 16 pounds during the closure. I'm down 22.
See?
Oh, so
see that? There you go.
So,
You lost the COVID weight gain that everyone went through.
that's it. You can see my neck again.
Yeah.
Such as it is.
Just let me know the date so I can tell Rob that he's only down to 2 hours now.
Gotcha.
He's been filling in that gap of time.
And listen, we're
since the beginning.
staying 9 to 10, Pete. We're not going to do the extra 15.
We like the 9
Yeah, that's
to
fine.
10.
The hours are fine. Yeah.
And I actually
November 5th, Pete. We'll do the first Thursday in November. We'll start
Okay, I'll let him know.
because we'll be done with 1 days by then.
Okay.
And the other thing, Pete, we've been doing, if you've noticed, we're doing 2 guests, one guest per half hour.
Isn't it a lot easier?
It is. It's nice, and you're not pulling teeth to have conversations. I'm not saying we ever really had that. It's just more comfortable.
I'm just afraid we're going to run out.
Yeah, me too.
Nah, you can circle back. There's so much going on. I think you can circle
know.
back.
Before we get back to Joe, I just want to talk about next week because it is STEM with 2 M's, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We are doing a whole bunch of great stuff next week, and it's the 3rd annual STEM week that the Baker-Polito statewide initiative to boost students to be able to see themselves in STEM, and that is actually our theme this year, See Yourself in STEM. Westfield Schools, we're also partnering with the Pioneer Valley STEM Network, which is a collaboration with Westfield State University professor Jennifer Hanselman, who is the Dean of the College of Mathematics and Sciences.
Who we'll see tonight.
Yeah, and she'll be there tonight. We're also working with the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, now that we have our remote learning center open there with them. Middle school students will be participating in a program with Dell Technologies, which is asking them to explore the potential of the technology-human relationship by using engineering to design an adaptive device for people with paralysis. What a great project for those kids.
Fantastic project.
It's called the Bionic Project, and Joe, from being a kid, I don't know if I remember the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman with Lindsay Wagner and what's the guy's
yeah.
Lee Major. You remember those
$6 million
shows?
man.
We can make him better, faster, stronger.
Exactly. I mean, Boy, we're really dating ourselves here.
No. Of course I get. The Yeti, Sasquatch, those last few episodes, a little hokey, but I was an avid fan.
It was 70s, though.
It was.
It's supposed to be.
At the high school level, we have a virtual career panel week, which has been scheduled for 10th to 12th graders, both at Westfield High School and Westfield Technical Academy, in collaboration with Mass Hire, the Career Center people at Westfield High School. Fort Meadow principal is also planning some events for her preschoolers at stations in the parking lot. So just over the break, from 9:30 to 10 on next week's show, we're going to be broadcasting. Lauren Figge's going to call in, Pete, so you got to help me make this work. She is going to be showing us she's going to be at Fort Meadow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And showing us they're doing pumpkin launches.
Oh, with the catapult.
Pumpkin chucking.
The catapults.
Pumpkin
Yeah,
chucking.
we're doing pumpkin chucking, and no one's going to get hurt. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah,
Right away.
well.
I love it. Something right out of Monty Python's Flying Circus.
It really is.
No kids will be put on the catapult.
On the catapult.
I just want to let everyone know that ahead of time.
Superintendent, if we can, why don't we just do a show over there?
I'm
Can we
up
do
for that if you want to.
Oh, live feed. I love it.
Yeah, maybe I can have Ken set up over there or something, or
Let me know.
From the parking lot.
Joanne would love it, and so would we, because I was going to go back at 1 to 3 when they do the part 2 of it, because the superintendent would like to catapult the pumpkin.
Right.
Are you doing that?
Well, wait.
Come on.
Yeah. I'll be. Yeah. Well, of course.
maybe I can have the students do this 8 to 9 hour here of Bobby G and Company, and I can shoot over there. I don't know. I'll mull it over.
All right.
I know I have the equipment to do it. So.
Either way, we can get Lauren to show us too, so that'll be good. And I look at it this way: STEM Week in Westfield is just a great way to highlight the hard work of our teachers and students. And our goal in Westfield is to help students see themselves in STEM every day. And I just want to say, it's not just for a week in October; it's just that we happen to feature this week. So, and by incorporating,
and we're fortunate here because all 12 of our programs, we do STEM every day.
You are STEM every day.
180 days a year.
By incorporating the arts and ELA with science and math, we're able to provide interdisciplinary learning for our students, and that's why we really make the effort to bring in all other subjects. And we're actually saying STEAM this week because we're doing some stuff with art too, and I think it's a great thing. All right, Joe, we got 2 minutes before we have to talk about sports here because we actually have sports going on here in the city of Westfield.
We do have sports going on happily.
Yeah, and your teams are doing pretty well.
Tigers doing pretty good.
So far so good. They're very proud, very pleased.
Absolutely. So, any closing comments you want to share for our audience members? And of course, we're going to post this later on YouTube, so people will be watching after the fact.
Yeah. So I'll just say what I have reiterated a number of times to parents and people in the community who call or who email me regarding, the reality of having students live and in person during a pandemic, which is not something any of us could have ever foreseen or prepared for. The reality is that whether it's in school, the supermarket, church, wherever, none of us can guarantee 100% safety for anyone.
Of course.
Right?
Yep.
And that's not the object of the exercise. The object of the exercise is to create as safe an environment as possible so that we're not only physically healthy and free from significant worry about contracting COVID, but that we're also psychologically and emotionally healthy. And for kids, an absolutely essential component is being in school and being able to interact with each other directly without the interruption of a screen. Even though this is a wonderful gift, it's certainly better than interacting over the telephone or in other ways, but it's no substitute for direct human contact.
I'm thinking, Joe, the last pandemic in 1918, they didn't have these options.
So
it was called Open Your Window.
Yeah.
That was it.
For me, I think the lion's share of my faculty with whom I've had this conversation, and certainly for the kids, we are all, while we're doing everything that we can do and then some to keep the risk at an absolute minimum, we're all saying that being here and learning together in community is worth the risk. And so far, everybody's attention to detail has kept that risk at a bare minimum. So I want to I guess my parting shot is to do everything I can, again, to ensure the community that this is an extremely safe place for your kids on a lot of levels, including the levels that are probably the more important ones that we don't think about all the time.
Right.
So,
All right.
and I want to thank families in the community for their trust and their confidence in our ability to keep their kids safe, and for their willingness to allow kids to come back to a stable, engaging routine, which is ultimately going to be of really great benefit for them. So,
Absolutely.
So thank you to all of them.
All right, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
All right. We'll catch you in a little bit. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon, everyone.
You too.
bud.
All right,
Thanks.
Chris. You're
Time
going
for first lunch.
There you go. Yeah. Lunch at 10 o'clock.
No,
What do
just quickly.
Oh, he's got your sports.
Oh, you got the theme going too?
Nice.
Wow. Quickly. Westfield Technical Academy boys golf team right now, Stefan, 4-1. All
Wow.
right, so they're off to a great start.
Do you remember when we used to talk and they were like 0 and whatever?
I know. Isn't
Like
that a
regularly 0 and
tremendous
whatever?
turnaround?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So Westfield Tech boys soccer, though, continuing their winning ways with a couple of victories, including over Hadley the other day. And at Westfield High School, how about field hockey? Couple of wins in a row and a tie against Northampton, who they play on Friday again. Golf at Westfield High, 5-2. Gymnastics at Westfield High, they continue to do what they do, but they're going to be going up against Minnetrog on Friday.
They're tough. Minnetrog's tough.
They are.
Yeah.
Boys and girls soccer off to a good start, and volleyball undefeated at this point, and that's kind of been their, yeah. So
Westfield dominates. That's the headline.
What can we say?
Yeah. All right, folks, thanks for listening. You've been tuning in to Superintendent Spotlight. We'll be on next week where we're going to talk about STEM Week, and hopefully we'll get some preschool students catapulting some pumpkins. And maybe the superintendent and Mr. Rodgers.
That's right. But
okay.
no students will be harmed in the process.
No students will be harmed. All right, folks, thank you very much. Have a great weekend and enjoy the beautiful weather today.